What if I told you that the fried pickle, the appetizer on every sports bar menu in America, the thing you order before the wings, the food that appears at every county fair and every casual restaurant in the country, was invented in 1963 by a man named Fatman who ran a pink drive-in restaurant across the highway from a pickle factory? That the most unexpected breakfast food in America, chocolate gravy, poured over biscuits, sweet and dark and completely real, has been a Sunday morning tradition in the Arkansas Ozarks since before most people's grandparents were born? That Arkansas has a pie named after a possum? Arkansas, where the food is fried, the gravy is chocolate, and the pickle is the legend. In 1960, a man named Burnell Austin, known to everyone in Atkins, Arkansas as Fat Man, leased a parcel of land from Griffin Oil Company for $10 a month and began building a drive-in restaurant. He opened the Duchess Drive-In in April 1960, a small pink building on U.S. Highway 64, the main road to Little Rock, directly across the highway from the Atkins Pickle Company. The Atkins Pickle Company was the main industrial driver of the town. Atkins called itself the pickle capital of Arkansas. The pickle plant employed most of the town. Its workers ate lunch at the Duchess. And Fat Man had more pickles at his disposal than he knew what to do with. In the summer of 1963, he started experimenting. He took hamburger dill pickle chips, threw them in catfish batter, the same batter used all over the South for fried catfish, and dropped them in the deep fryer. The first fried dill pickles ever sold anywhere were sold in the summer of 1963 at 15 cents for an order of 15 hamburger slices. They didn't taste quite right yet. Austin kept working. By the end of that summer, he had found the shape. Whole dill pickles quartered lengthwise, dredged in a seasoned flour mixture that became the family's secret recipe. The shape mattered. The long, thin slice had more surface area for the batter. It came out crispier. It was the right pickle. The fried pickles spread. Restaurants across the South started making their own versions. By the 1980s, they were on menus across the region. By the 2000s, they were national. Today, fried pickles are on the menu at Applebee's, at Buffalo Wild Wings, at every casual dining chain in America. The global appetizer that appears at sports bars around the world was invented by a man called Fat Man in a pink drive-in in a town whose main employer was a pickle factory. Somewhere in the Ozark Mountains of northern Arkansas, in the hollows and hill towns of Stone County and Newton County and Searcy County, in the farmhouses where Sunday morning meant something specific, there has been a breakfast tradition for generations that the rest of the country encounters and cannot process. Chocolate gravy is a sweet, dark, thick sauce. Cocoa powder, sugar, butter, flour, and milk, cooked together until the mixture thickens into something that pours like gravy but tastes like chocolate, served hot over fresh biscuits. Not as a dessert, as breakfast. On Sunday morning, the same way you would serve sausage gravy over biscuits, except the gravy is chocolate and the day starts sweet. Chocolate gravy also enjoys a rich history in the cooking of the Arkansas Ozarks, although its origins are unknown. The most compelling theory traces it through Spanish trade routes. It is believed Spanish Louisiana had a trading network into the Tennessee Valley region. This trade may have introduced Mexican-style breakfast chocolate to the Appalachians, where it is called chocolate gravy. The Ozark settlers, Scots-Irish, German, and English families who came into the mountains in the early 19th century, adapted what they found and what they could trade for. Cocoa powder, when it became commercially available in the early 20th century, was cheap and shelf-stable. Combined with the biscuit and gravy tradition already established in the Mountain South, the result was chocolate gravy. Sweet, filling, made from things that were always in the pantry. You cannot order chocolate gravy at a chain restaurant. You cannot find it in most American cities. You find it at the Ozark Cafe in Jasper, Arkansas, which has been serving it since before most of its current customers were born. The name is the whole story. Possum pie is a no-bake layered dessert, a crust of flour and crushed pecans pressed into a pan and baked. A layer of cream cheese mixed with powdered sugar and Cool Whip. A layer of chocolate pudding. A final layer of Cool Whip and chopped pecans on top. It is cold, rich, slightly sweet, and has nothing to do with a possum. The name comes from the idea that the dessert is not what it appears to be. Like a possum playing dead, the pie appears to be one thing and reveals itself to be another. You see what looks like a simple cream pie and discover the chocolate layer. You see a nutty crust and find cream cheese beneath it. The possum plays its trick. Possum pie appears in Arkansas cookbooks, at Arkansas church suppers, at Arkansas family reunions. It goes by different names in different parts of the state. Four-layer delight, chocolate torte, Robert Redford. But the idea is the same everywhere, and the Arkansas name is the one that has spread. Arkansas sits between two of the great American barbecue traditions, Texas to the west, Memphis to the northeast, and has developed its own approach that is neither and draws from both. The Arkansas barbecue tradition, centered in the Delta and the river towns along the Mississippi, uses pork shoulder and pork ribs smoked over hickory wood with a sauce that is tomato-based and slightly sweet but thinner and more vinegar-forward than the thick, sweet Kansas City style. The Delta towns of West Memphis and Forest City and Helena have been serving this specific barbecue since before World War II. Craig's Barbecue in Devall's Bluff, a small town on the White River in Prairie County, has been operating since 1947. It has been called the best barbecue restaurant in Arkansas by every publication that has evaluated it. It serves pork shoulder, sliced or pulled, with a thin sauce that the family has maintained for 75 years. The restaurant seats 30 people. The parking lot holds more cars on a weekend than the building could theoretically feed. There is a debate in Arkansas about cheese dip that the rest of the country does not know is happening. Arkansas, specifically Little Rock, claims to have invented the queso-style cheese dip that became a staple of Tex-Mex restaurants across America. Mexico Chiquito, which opened in Little Rock in 1935, is credited by many Arkansas food historians with developing and popularizing the thin, smooth, processed cheese and pepper dip that appears in a bowl before every Mexican restaurant meal in the American South and Midwest. The claim is contested. San Antonio has its own history of chile con queso going back to 1910. Texas would like the credit. Arkansas is unbothered by Texas's opinion. What is not contested, Mexico Chiquito's cheese dip, Velveeta-based, smooth, thin enough to coat a chip without weighing it down, mildly spiced, became the standard for Arkansas Mexican restaurants and the template that spread through the region. The Arkansas Cheese Dip Championship is held annually in Little Rock. Arkansas is the second largest producer of farm-raised catfish in America, behind only Mississippi, and the catfish fry tradition in Arkansas is as deeply embedded as it is across the river. The Arkansas catfish fry is Friday night food, channel catfish, raised in delta ponds, dredged in seasoned cornmeal, and fried in oil until the crust is crackling and dark. Served with coleslaw, hush puppies, and hot sauce. At fish fries that run from church fellowship halls to roadside restaurants to the kind of family gathering where the fish is fried outside and everyone eats standing around the fryer. The White River in northern Arkansas, one of the finest trout streams in America, cold and clear from the dam-regulated tailwaters below Bull Shoals Lake, adds a different dimension to Arkansas's fish culture. Trout fishing on the White River draws anglers from across the country. The trout are served at Riverside restaurants in Cotter and Flippin and Mountain Home that have been feeding fishermen since the 1950s. Arkansas produces more rice than any other state in America. Not by a small margin. Arkansas accounts for approximately 40 to 50% of all domestically produced rice in the United States. The Grand Prairie region of eastern Arkansas, between Little Rock and the Mississippi River, has been a rice-producing region since the early 20th century, when farmers discovered that the flat, clay-heavy soil that held water perfectly was ideal for flooded rice cultivation. The Grand Prairie rice fields are flooded every spring. The water levels managed through an elaborate system of levees and irrigation that transforms the flat landscape into a patchwork of shallow lakes. Migratory waterfowl. Millions of ducks and geese following the Mississippi Flyway stop in the Arkansas rice fields every fall, making eastern Arkansas one of the premier duck hunting regions in the country. Arkansas rice appears on every table in the state, cooked simply as a side dish or as the base for the Spanish-influenced rice dishes that have been part of Arkansas Delta cooking since the early 20th century. The Bradley County pink tomato is Arkansas's most celebrated agricultural product and the center of a summer food tradition that has been running since 1956. The Bradley County pink tomato, grown in the sandy, loamy soil of south-central Arkansas around the town of Warren, is a large, thin-skinned, pink-shouldered tomato with high sugar content and low acidity, bred for flavor rather than for the shelf life and firmness that commercial tomatoes require for long-distance shipping. It bruises easily. It doesn't last. It is best eaten within hours of being picked, while still warm from the vine, with nothing but salt and a knife. The Bradley County Pink Tomato Festival in Warren has been held every June since 1956. It is the oldest tomato festival in Arkansas and one of the oldest in the South. The festival features tomato eating contests, tomato-themed cooking competitions, and the Pink Tomato Queen, a tradition that has crowned a festival queen every year without interruption for nearly 70 years. The biscuit is the foundation of Ozark cooking. Not metaphorically, literally. It is the first thing made in the morning, the thing everything else is built on. The chocolate gravy, the sausage gravy, the honey, the butter, the country ham slice. The Ozark biscuit is a southern biscuit made with white lily or similar soft wheat flour, lard or butter, buttermilk, and baking powder. Mixed quickly, handled minimally, cut thick, baked in a cast iron skillet or on a sheet pan until the top is golden and the interior is soft and layered and hot. The biscuit technique was brought to the Arkansas Ozarks by the Appalachian settlers who came from Tennessee and Kentucky and North Carolina in the early 19th century. They brought their wheat varieties, their lard-based baking tradition, their cast iron cookware. The Mountain South biscuit became the Ozark biscuit. In Arkansas, the biscuit is served at every breakfast, at every country restaurant, at every church function where food is offered. Arkansas does not announce its food culture. It has it, and it keeps it, and it is entirely unbothered by the fact that most of the country doesn't know about it. A man called Fat Man invented the fried pickle across the street from a pickle factory in 1963. The appetizer that sports bars serve to 1 billion people traces to a pink drive-in on Highway 64 that no longer stands. The chocolate gravy that flows over biscuits in Ozark kitchens every Sunday morning came through Spanish trade routes from Mexican breakfast chocolate and settled into the mountains so completely that it is now considered native. The possum pie is not what it appears to be. Arkansas considers this appropriate. The state that produces half of America's rice is not known for its rice. The state that invented the fried pickle is known for that, and not much else, which is the kind of recognition that is accurate without being complete. Not every state has a pie named after an animal that plays dead. Not every state's most famous appetizer was invented by a man called Fat Man, who was trying to figure out what to do with the pickles from across the street. Not every state pours chocolate on biscuits for breakfast and considers this the natural order of things.